All right, let's do this. What a sports day across the country. College football is insane. USC and UCLA was a drunk football game right now. Oregon and Utah tied up in a 17-all battle down at Autzen, which is awesome. Tennessee gave up 63 points to South Carolina. And, of course, your Portland Trailblazers have dropped back-to-back home games for the first time this year. First time they dropped back-to-back games this season as the Utah Jazz come in and get a 118-113 victory. But the bigger news, of course, is Damian Lillard. Unfortunately, he left the game in the third quarter, did not return. And according to multiple reports, he has re-aggravated that right calf. So he missed 4 games initially. He's missed 5 games total with the calf. So I would guess with a road trip starting out Monday in Milwaukee that he's going to miss some more time. And I wouldn't be surprised if he missed 2, 3, or maybe all 4 games of the road trip. This is not an injury you want to jack with. It's not something you want to mess around with. You got to make sure Dame is straight. You got to get him on the right track and whatever it takes to get him healthy. Unfortunately, this 3-game homestand where the Blazers were favored to come in and take care of business. Win it, and Lauri Markkanen scored just above his average on the season of 23 points. The Jazz able to connect on 46% of their field goals. They hit 14 threes, and they were pesky. Very, very pesky. The Blazers, to their credit, they did not hang their heads. You know, the first half really was a back-and-forth type of an affair. Utah was able to close the half on a 15-7 run as a 15-8 run, and they built a 7-point lead going into halftime. And then we saw Utah extend that lead. They built it up to as much as 19 in the third quarter. That was their biggest lead. And then the Blazers started to chip away. They went on a 21-5 run, cut the lead to 3. Utah scored the final 5 points of the quarter. They had an 8-point lead going into the fourth. And then Portland continued to chip away without Dame. Multiple guys who were very active. Drew Eubanks, another big night for Portland, energizing the crowd and his teammates off the bench. They took a 108-107 lead off a couple of free throws from Ant with 2 minutes to go in the fourth, and then Utah closed it out with that 11-5 push, thanks to Jordan Clarkson. And when I talk about balance, you know, which has been kind of a recurring theme for Portland this year, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists for Josh Hart. He played 30 minutes. Jeremy Grant able to find the touch from three-point range tonight. 4 of 7 from 3, finished with 14 points. Yusuf Nurkic bounced back after that poor outing against Brooklyn. He's been struggling a bit. 18.7 rebounds. He was 8 of 10 from the floor. Ant, 23.7 assists. And Dame, as I mentioned, struggled before exiting the game with the calf injury. Just 2 of 14 from the floor, finished with 13 points and 7 assists, and only 1 of 12 from downtown. Drew Eubanks, 20 minutes, 13 points, 5 rebounds. The guy's an animal. And someone asked me if I owe Eubanks a daily apology. Yeah, either that or a public flogging. I mean, the guy just continues to produce. He's been very impressive. So a tough loss for the Blazers, back-to-back home losses. They're now 10-6. And when I talk about missed opportunities, 10-6 with this 4-game road trip coming up with stops in Milwaukee, Cleveland, two of the best teams in the East. Then they have to go to Madison Square Garden to face the Knicks. And then they finish up against Brooklyn, who just came into Portland and beat them. Those are 4 tough games. And then they come back home to face the Clippers. And then they'll finish out the month of November in L.A. against the Lakers. Yeah. But hopefully Dame, look, I don't want him to miss the entire road trip, but if that's what it takes to get the guy right, then you got to do whatever it takes to get him right. It's critical. That's how it has to be done. Right now down at Autzen, Utah and Oregon tied up at 17. 13 minutes to play in the game. And Oregon has the ball inside the Utes' 30-yard line. Bo Nix tonight is, well, he's being pretty heroic out there. He's basically got one leg, and he's playing a darn good football game, which has turned out to be a physical, tight ball game as Utah's defense is tightened up there in the second half. And Oregon right now vying for a spot in the Pac-12 championship game. USC took out UCLA. They're in the Pac-12 title game. And with one loss, they're still playing for an opportunity to get into the 14 playoff. All right, Chris Burkhardt is here. Burkhardt, back-to-back home losses. First time they've suffered back-to-back losses on the season. That's not exactly what we were hoping for going into this 3-game homestand against San Antonio, Brooklyn, and Utah.
No, it was not. And this is one of those ones I think that you don't take moral victories from. Like, they had moments where they looked good. You could say, oh, Dame wasn't there. But there was other situations that just weren't great. Like Yusuf Nurkic, you can look at his box score, and he had a decent box score, but there was just moments where he wasn't playing good. And as it's been noted in the chat, like, Drew Eubanks really led that late comeback. So, yeah, interesting little homestand here.
Turnovers an issue again for Portland tonight. 18 turnovers leading to 28 points for the Jazz. Let's go out to the phones. I want to hear from you. 503-248-0620. We'll start with Kenny in Vancouver. Kenny, what's up? Welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, good evening, guys. I think, watching, this 3-game home stretch, our top 3 guys shot the ball as poorly as a group as they just about can. I mean, tonight was, Dame will have an occasional one of these kind of games, but he that's as bad as I've seen his stroke in a long, long time. But nobody shot the ball well during this homestand as far as Grant, Ant, or Dame. You got to make shots. You know how Godfather always says it's a make or miss league. You got to make shots. We're not making shots right now. We are missing entirely too many wide open looks. It's not just Brooklyn had some good defense on us the other night. Utah didn't have great defense tonight. We missed a ton of open looks. It was Brick City. We were the bricklayers tonight.
Yeah, it was tough. The offense, they struggled to make shots on the homestand. Part of that was because of a lack of movement in their offense. The movement tonight, I thought during stretches, was much better. Portland finished with 27 assists, which is right up there around the number that you want. But it's always going to be tough when Dame and Ant aren't making the shots, because outside of Dame and Ant, you've got Jeremy Grant, but there aren't a lot of shot makers on this team, guys who are pure from that three-point line, and that's part of the issue, and we've seen that throughout the years. So when Dame and Ant struggle, it's going to be tough to find the points or at least get that consistent three-point shooting, and hopefully that's something that will turn around quick.
Without a doubt, because, again, the ball movement was better tonight, but you can pass it all you want, but if guys don't make wide-open shots, you can't win the game. And tonight, to me, it just looked – and I think, especially with Dame, I think he was a little down tonight. What I mean by that is I think it got a little in his head. Why is my shot not going in? He just looked like he was second-guessing himself quite a bit tonight in that third quarter. And And they'll overcome this. With Dame, maybe you ought to look at the orthotics that are inside his shoes. I wear his shoes, and they're fantastic shoes for basketball. But maybe those special orthotics he has, that might be putting pressure on that leg. There might be different pressure points, but that's a weird injury. Those tissue type injuries, that's a weird that's a weird injury, Chad.
Yeah, it is. I appreciate the phone call, Kenny. The calf injury, and, we've talked about this. You don't have to be a doctor to understand this. So most of us have suffered some form of calf injury. And, Burkhart, you know this as well. Once you injure the calf, it's really easy to re-aggravate. It can be a recurring theme, and that's why, it's tough for these NBA players because they want to get back on the floor and contribute, but it's just one of those things that takes time, unfortunately, to get it right to where you don't have to worry about the re-aggravation.
Yeah, I mean, I'm an Islander, so I just have naturally big calves, and a good calf cramp will knock me out for a week, let alone a calf strain. So, yeah, I get it.
The one thing that I'm concerned about, Dame now at 32, I just hope that this calf aggravation is not a precursor of what's to come in the near future. Smaller guards, as they start to age, you worry about these little, nicks and bruises and nagging injuries. And that's why I want Dame to make sure that whatever it takes to get himself right and back to 100%, that's what he does. Who cares about the 4-game road trip? What matters is Dame being healthy as they continue to press forward. And then hopefully at some point, Gary Payton II will make his debut. And we got that unfortunate news yesterday that his injury or the procedure he had for the core, he's experienced some intermittent soreness, so he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks. So more than likely, if he's reevaluated in 2 weeks and he gets the clearance to go, they'll have to get his conditioning up. So by the time he comes back to the lineup, you could be talking about 40 games in, half a season. And that's a guy you could use not only for his defense, but the depth at the guard position and giving Chauncey some options to work with. Go out to the phones, 503-248-0620. Sean in Westland. Sean, appreciate the phone call. You're up on fifth quarter. Fire away.
Appreciate you, Rip City Blazers all day, Chad. Quick question. Just wanted to know, so at what point, I know we have the cornerstone, the all-star, Dame Lillard, so he's having an off night. But if you look pre-games to this, we were running fine even if Dame wasn't out on the floor. So at what point do you decide maybe Dame's not feeling it tonight and you go to your smaller or your quicker or your younger lineup, which was dominant? Didn't see a lot of shade tonight. I know he missed a couple buckets, not seeing his energy out there. I'm just wondering about when you do a rotation change when Dame's maybe not feeling it, not looking good.
Yeah, I don't think you do that. I think whether Dame's got it or not, I think you stick with Dame because he's Damian Lillard, and usually players like Dame, they can go through 2 or 3 quarters of awful play and be able to come up big late in the game. So, no, I don't think you rotate Dame out of the game. You give him his normal rest, but in crunch time, in key moments, you want Dame on the floor, regardless of how he's looked previous.
Okay, quick, though, on that. So do you think he's playing through possible strain in the calf? You're keeping him in the rotation because he is Dame Lillard, of course.
No, I want him healthy.
What you're saying.
No, what I want is I want Dame healthy, Sean. So if he's not right and he hasn't looked right the last couple of games, then you got to rest him until he's 100%. I don't want Dame playing through injury. What I'm saying is if Dame is healthy 100%, I don't care what his numbers look like, he's got to play.
Okay, we're on the same page exactly with that, Chad. That's all I was saying. If Dame's not feeling it himself, maybe we rotate, because I want him 110 all day, every day.
No, you don't chase any game or any wins and sacrifice Dame's body. That's absurd. No game in February is worth Dame, re-aggravating a calf. You rest him and get him healthy and then get him back in there.
That's it. It's the same with GP. Same thing. I mean, I know he's got a little hiccup right now, but we'll take him 40 games in. We'll take that.
I can't wait to see him out there. That's a good phone call, Sean. I appreciate that. He wants him to make sure Dame's good. I agree with that. 503-248-0620. Let's go out to Josh Baker. I actually stopped by his crib yesterday and had a chance to see him face-to-face. The phone screener indicates that he wants Taco Bell. I always want Taco Bell. I just have to choose not to consume it because it doesn't fit into my lifestyle. Do you still have cravings for places like Taco Bell, Burkhardt?
All the time.
When I was in high school, they had the 59, 79, and 99-cent menu. $5. You go out there with one of your buddies, you're eating like a king. Incredible.
Back in the day,
Back in the day.
candy
Go out
bar
there right
cost
now.
a nickel.
What's up, Baker?
They just got the El Anchorito back for a limited time. Not even on the menu. I'm gonna go get one.
Yeah, you got to do
I've
what
already
you got
had
to
like
do.
2 of them.
You got to do what you got to do.
And I yes, we lost, but I'm gonna take your phrase that you love to say of "Show me your blazer," and I'm gonna change it up a little bit and say, "Show me your Joshua PNW pride." Yeah.
Yeah. Show me your Mexi Melt.
Show me your chalupa.
Oh, so good.
Yes. So I know it didn't fit you, but how does Is it Kaylee or
Yeah.
Kylie?
No, you got it, Kaylee. Yeah, yeah. She likes the shirt. She appreciates the shirt, and it fits her perfectly.
Awesome. So we're gonna get you a large, and what I might do is I have Gildan, which is 50-50. It ain't gonna shrink, but I do have some that are 100% cotton, and in a large it might shrink to the between a medium and a large, and it might fit you perfectly.
All right, I appreciate that. Now, Josh, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you on TikTok so they can understand and see the shirt that we're talking about?
Okay, so on TikTok, I'm nearing 17,000 followers. Joshua PNW Pacific Northwest underscore Groot's Gang. You may be thinking, why Groot's Gang? Well, I do go to Disneyland, and you can buy these little fellows that sit on your shoulder. And one night on TikTok, I said I'm gonna put Baby Groot on my shoulder, and it was a hit. Now, if I go live on TikTok and I don't have Baby Groot on my shoulder, I get people saying, "Where's Baby Groot?" So that's why I'm like, okay, you can either like me or Baby Groot. Just follow me. Let's go. And I think I do more on TikTok than anyone else. We do team shirts. We do team meetups. I do giveaways. I'm Mr. Beast on a very low level.
All right, so what is your handle on TikTok so they can look you up?
Joshua PNW underscore Groot's Gang.
All right. All right. Well, you enjoy your
And if
Taco
you
Bell.
if you subscribe, the little emotes that you have Baby Groot, but also Damian Lillard as an emote that you can put in the chat. That's amazing.
All right, there you go. Josh Baker killing it right now in the Taco Bell drive-thru. I forgot to ask him if he was with his hairdresser tonight. It's amazing. Baker's living the life.
I don't know. I mean, the way they talk when they're on, she seems pretty high class. She might want something a little higher on the list than Taco Bell.
It's possible. All right, let's go out and talk with my good friend Victor, big Blazer fan, across the pond on the other side of the world in Turkey. Victor in Turkey. What's up, Victor? Long time no chat. How you doing, my buddy?
All right, all right. How's it going over there?
Very well. How are things going back home in Turkey?
Well, that's fine. The World Cup will start, tomorrow or next day. The soccer, that's what the soccer is about in Turkey. So the USA playing, and they have some Middle Eastern competitors in the same group. I think Iran was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody watching those games, besides the basketball,
Now, Victor, did
But-
you once tell me that, did you play soccer when you were younger?
Yeah, I played soccer in Turkey. Then I went to Germany, played for Bayern Munich in Germany in '72. And the Bayern Munich is the number one German team. I played with them for about a year or so. Then after that, I came to here. In '73, I came to Portland.
That's perfect. So, what do you think about this year's Blazers? What are you seeing right now, Victor?
Well, as a player, as a sport fan and a player, I don't think the Blazers played good at all tonight. The Utah, they had a total control from the beginning, and the Blazers, they kind of look tired or lethargic. they weren't really interested. They didn't look interested. Besides Damian got injured, the shots wasn't coming through. But I think I want to complain about the coaching staff, Chad. The reason is, I am a keen, because I'm pretty smart in sport. If you look at the last game, the 7 seconds, Nets and Blazer, they were tied. After that, the 3-point shot, amazing shot by Yusuf Nurkic, that he fell down and he put you remember? He put the ball in the basket, the Yusuf, the last shot that he made the score even,
Yeah, it was miraculous. The miraculous shot off the top of the window. Yes, it was crazy.
But what I don't understand about this Blazer coaches, there are like 5 or 6 of them. The problem is right after that they took the Nurkic, they put him on the bench. Now, when the other guy, the Nets, he came in and they under the basket and he just flipped it in. Well, under the basket was Simon, and Simon with 6'3", he's not gonna block that shot. And the guy just simply, there was another guy too, a shorter guy probably, and then he just tipped it in. If they didn't take the Yusuf Nurkic out of the game, that they shouldn't, and they put that under the basket, the Blazers would be even the game and they could win. So what I'm saying is, the Blazers always complain, well, we are low, we are a small guy, we don't have, we don't have length and we don't have length. So if you are complaining about the length, why you took the Yusuf Nurkic out in 7 seconds? I mean, that didn't make any sense to me. That's a problem. Another problem today, they made a mistake. When in the halftime, they said the Utah bench, they are 32-7. It was outside on the TV. They said they are 32-7. Others scored Portland bench. So what I'm saying is, this Portland bench, in Las Vegas, they won the championship, didn't they? The second team of Blazers in Las Vegas.
Yeah, some of the guys. Yeah, some of the guys who are on the bench right now were part of that summer league team. Yes.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when you started, they have problems. They don't make shots and all of that. Bring your bench in, because the Utah, they brought their bench apparently, and they won the game. That's what it is. I mean, 32-7. So what I'm saying, you match up with them. I mean, you don't put if you're started, they are not very hot. Put like a Nasir leader. When the Nasir leader came in, in the second quarter, he energized the team. Nasir leader wasn't playing too much, but when they brought him in, he scored. He energized the team. So the coaching staff is a big problem for me. Whoever it is, what they are doing. These two incidents. You have to. You see, if they put the bench in, they could bang them. At least they could bang them up. They could put body on them. They could make them tired. The Utah, they were running like a rooster without the head. They are running the court like a rooster, and they had a lot of energy.
Yeah, no, I understand. Let me take a moment to respond to a couple of those things. First off, that play against Brooklyn where they had the final shot, 6.5 on the clock, they could have gone with bigger bodies, but really it came down to one person's mistake as to why Royce O'Neal was able to get in and make that miraculous tip, which is 0.7 on the clock. It was Anthony Simons. He got caught peeking over at Kevin Durant, and what happened is he was paying attention to Durant, and Jeremy Grant had really good defense in that moment. And as he peeked, Royce O'Neal read the situation and went straight towards the rim and got good position. So if Ant does his job and puts a body on Royce O'Neal, then it doesn't really matter who's on the floor. The one guy made the mistake. But I don't have a problem with them going with bigger bodies. And in regards to tonight, I think Chauncey was just trying to find the right combination of players. Drew Eubanks was utilized off the bench. He was 6 of 6, 13 points, 5 rebounds. He energized the crowd. Shaedon Sharpe played 21, didn't really make an impact tonight, couldn't find the range. Winslow was more of a defensive presence. He had 5 rebounds tonight. He was physical out there. I think Chauncey, without Dame in the lineup, especially late in the game, was just trying to find the right combination of guys to be able to make shots and score points. So I don't really have an issue with the coaching staff. I think what's happening, Victor, is that, Chauncey Billups is still getting a feel for this roster. And the problem is, for him, there's so many guys who are, making a demand for minutes that, he's going to have to try and sort through that. And it's only going to be further complicated once Gary Payton II makes his debut. All right, we'll take a timeout, and we'll come back and continue to take your calls. Blazers fall tonight 118 to 113. They're now 10-6. They kick off a 4-game road trip Monday in Milwaukee. 503-248-0620. We'll come back and get Chris's thoughts on what we saw tonight. And you can join us on YouTube. We're live right now on YouTube. Go to Rip City Radio on YouTube and click on the live link. Or if you follow us on Twitter, Rip City Radio, you can find me there at Chad and Rip City. We tweeted out the live link. You can join us that way as well. All right, 5th quarter here in your home of the Blazers, 620, Rip City Radio. Well, tell you what, Chris, you're giving me anxiety. I guess the Ducks just forced another turnover. I saw the long completion down the sideline by Bo Nix, and I'm doing the show, so I can't watch the game. I got other things going on. And you're like, oh, yeah, Nix just threw a pick. And I'm like, wait, what? And now Cameron Rising has just been picked off. So this game is getting a little bit crazy here at the end. Oregon trying to hold on. They're on top 20-17. The Ducks trying to stay alive for the Pac-12 title game. They will take on Oregon State next week in the Beavs. Won earlier today. They're now 8-3 after topping Arizona State 31-7.
The funny part about that is I'm over here trying to do YouTube and the radio, so I can't look up. So you're like, oh, the Ducks just got another pick.
Yeah, you didn't even see that one.
I didn't even see it. So,
we did it to each other. That's great. A lot of great things going on. What a sports day. Wild day in college football. All right, telephone number 503-248-0620. So what are some of your takeaways on what you're seeing from this team right now, in particular with tonight's game against the Jazz?
Tonight's game against the Jazz, one thing I think, Chad, that's been kind of a struggle all year long is they come out the gate slow, and they let these teams get going. Utah wasn't shooting great, but Portland took a while to get going. It took that fourth quarter run to come back, and you see just a little too much almost just lethargic. I don't get it. Like you're waiting for them to show you something, and then you can react to it. I don't know. How many times even I said in game day, just like, no, be a dog. Go for the jugular. Knock them out first quarter. Get up by 20. That's what we said the key to the game against the Spurs was. Don't let them stay in the game. But they let them stay in the game, and it was close to the end. I have not seen this team just really just assert itself as often as I'd like.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And maybe that's part of, a new team, new characters trying to learn one another as they continue to also take in all of the different things that Chauncey's emphasizing through games and practice in terms of how he wants them to play. But you're right. You've got to come out with a little more energy. They started the game a little bit better, but they didn't close the first quarter as well as I would have liked because they weren't shooting the ball well. And then we saw the Jazz have that strong finish to the second quarter, and then they opened up second half. Third quarter play was really rough as the Jazz built a 19-point lead, but the Blazers went on that spurt 21-5 and got back in the game. But, more consistency with that energy, I think, would be critical.
Yeah, and there was a spot there too, Chad, where, they're struggling to get the ball moving. I think Dame was still in the game at this point, kind of went ISO on the wing there, couldn't get around his defender, so he passed out to Ant up top, who tried to go by his guy ISO, but Utah blocked it, so he passed it out to Jeremy Grant, who tried to get past his guy ISO and eventually put up, about a 20-foot jumper as the shot clock expired, clanged off the rim. Utah got the stop. That's just what Coach Billups said the other day. It doesn't have to be a late-game situation to be irritated by ISO ball.
That's true. Let's go back out to the phones. Let's go to the Preacher. Preacher, welcome to the fifth quarter. You're up, buddy. Fire away.
Hey, I appreciate you bringing me on. I was really hyped up for the game all throughout Friday, especially, Utah. Is this Saturday? I'm sorry, Saturday. And with that said, is like, oh, man, with the letdown today, I was a little bit disappointed with the fact that, we were fighting as the underdogs for the number one Western Conference final spot, or close to it, not, final spot, but within it. So that kind of hurt, but I appreciate everything I've been hearing all throughout the week. The show's been great. I listen to, Fancy Coffee Friday, Justin, and then I'm here listening to you guys throughout the week with Dwight, and the analytics was great. So I appreciate everything, but it was kind of a letdown. But all in all, it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I would say that the letdown for me was just the missed opportunity with the three-game homestand. They had a chance to take care of business against teams they were favored against. They won only one of the three. Now the difficulty is the four-game road trip, which is going to be tough, and they might not have Dame on that road trip with the calf injury, which is frustrating.
Yeah, that is frustrating. I've heard a lot about your analytics with Nurk, and I'm like, I look at Nurk, I'm like, get in the weight room, man. Fight those pounds upon pounds. When you're in the weight room and I know you're one of those guys, when you're in the gym, it's like fighting minute by minute, hour after hour, being uncomfortable. I'm a hiker. I hike lots of miles. And I can tell you how many miles I've hiked across America It's about being uncomfortable, being comfortable, or finding, I should say otherwise, being comfortable being in an uncomfortable situation. And I would just wish Nurk would lift a little bit more weights, bulk up a little bit, get that Karl Malone physique, and literally keep that arm out on his threes a little bit and his free throws. And I think it'd all come back.
Well, I'm with you on that, Preacher, and I appreciate your phone call. I'm not sure it's the weights. I think for Nurk, it's between the years. I think it's a mental thing. It's probably not a physical thing for Nurk, aside from the fact that maybe the injury that he suffered a few years ago, the leg injury, maybe that still has a lingering impact on him. That's possible. Let's go to Aaron in Vancouver. Aaron, appreciate the phone call. You're up on the fifth quarter. Fire away.
Hey, guys. Just want to talk about a few things here. Blazers, we're going to have these off games. Second thing, Ducks. Okay? Blazers are going to have these off games. We didn't have a great shooting night. Lillard, I don't know, man. We need him back. We need Chauncey to, bust his chops to, fill this team, or not fill this team, but have this team play competitive ball without him if we have him, Lillard, out for an extended period of time. Get Lillard right. Let's force it into the playoffs. And then now let's talk about the Ducks just for a half a second here. My Huskies just buried them last week. Just buried them. Keeping that O on their helmet, meaning 0 national championships. And everything's falling into line tonight. The Ducks are going to win, which helps me have my Huskies have a chance to get to the Pac-12 championship game. They screwed themselves by losing to Arizona State. That Arizona State loss is just awful. That should have never happened.
I was at that game, and it was
here we are.
spectacular.
Yeah, I wish I turned down tickets because I had all my kids in the same house that night, and I was like, you know what? No, family weekend. I'm not going to split us up again for the weekend. My friend has awesome seats at the Ducks. I've been there so many times, been spit on so many times down there, and just treated like crap down there. And I love it. Little brother doesn't like big brother. But, Chad, I'll end it with this. Show me your Blazer. Show me your Blazer.
Good work. I appreciate that.
Well, you know what?
He's trying to get me knifed there with his comments about the Ducks.
I don't know. The big brother, little brother. Big brother still wears his Letterman from high school, despite the fact he just went to his 30-year high school reunion. Come on now. Be relevant in the last 2 decades, my man.
Right.
And I'm only saying this nicely because the rivalry's fun, Aaron. I say it in fun.
It's a great rivalry. We saw it last week, man. Bitterness and hatred make for a great rivalry. All right, 3 minutes to play at Autzen. Oregon on top of Utah, 20-17. And Utah's got the ball 2nd and 1 at their own 33-yard line. So we'll see how things play out there at Autzen. Crazy.
Yo, what does this say about Ty Thompson? Remember last year? Why is AB in? Put Ty in. And now what is obviously not 100% Bo Nix is keeping him off the floor as well.
Nope.
Field.
I know. And Bo Nix earning respect from his teammates tonight for gutting out this type of performance.
I think they just threw a stat up there. He's 25 for 36. He had that pick, but, that's a hard throw to throw with a healthy leg. The cross body into the flat. So, yeah, I have respect for him after this performance.
All right, let's get to the drive of the night here on the fifth quarter.
It's time for the Portland Trailblazers Drive of the Night here on the fifth quarter, hosted by Chad Dewing, 620 Rip City Radio. Drive of the Night is brought to you by Dick's Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Wilsonville, ready to compete with the lowest prices in town.
Blazers have it in the front court. 9-1 Trailblazers run. They have 8 second chance points in this fourth quarter. They trail 105-104. Simons gives it up to Winslow. Dribbles left. Winslow drives. Gives it underneath to Eubanks, who stuffs it in. Blazers lead 106-105. Drew Eubanks with a season-high 13 points. And they've got their first lead of the second half.
All right, there you go, your drive of the night. We're going to come back on fifth quarter, and when we do, we're going to hear from Chauncey Billups. We'll have our shot of the night, and we'll keep things rolling. 503-248-0620. Utah now facing a 4th down and 6 with 2:02 to play Oregon on top 20-17. Jazz over the Blazers tonight, 118-113 at Moda Center. They kick off a 4-game road trip Monday in Milwaukee. Game day will start at 2:30, tip-off at 5 here on 620 Rip City Radio.
YouTube. You're awesome. Yes, you're awesome. That's all. Chat's talking to me. Now I gotta go back. So.
All right, fifth quarter, Jazz over the Trailblazers tonight, 118-113. Update on the Oregon-Utah game. Ducks lead 20-17. Utah has just called their final timeout. Oregon facing a 3rd down and 1, so they're 1 yard away from clinching the game and moving forward to the showdown with Oregon State, which is coming up next weekend. That's where we're at. We're going to hear from Chauncey Billups in just a moment, but first things first, let's get to our shot of the night.
It's time for the Nothing But Net Shot of the Night here on the fifth quarter, 620 Rip City Radio. The Nothing But Net Shot of the Night is brought to you by Oregon Dungeness Crab. Sustainably harvested, uniquely delicious, and always wild. Oregon Dungeness Crab always sounds good for dinner.
Here's Horton Tucker on the drive to the rim, blocked by Eubanks, picked up by Simons. Leads the fast break to Sharp, spins around into the corner now to Simons. Simons looks around, holds on to it in front of Kessler, crosses over, brings it back up top. He's open, pops a three-pointer, buries it. 6-point game, 82-76. Takes it to the break, another three, buries it again. 3-point game, 82-79, and now the Jazz take time.
That was a great sequence. The Blazers 21-5 run to cut the Jazz lead to 3 there in the third after they got down by 19. But Portland's comeback bid fell short. They actually took the lead with 2 minutes to go in the game on Anthony Simons' free throws, 108-107. But then Utah closed the game on an 11-5 run. Tough loss for Portland. Dame left the game in the third quarter with a calf injury, re-aggravating that right calf, and no timetable set yet for his return. We'll get more details probably over the next couple of days. But let's take a listen to Blazers head coach Chauncey Billups following the Blazers' 118-113 loss tonight at Moda.
Got some really good looks. In the first half, just couldn't make a shot, So that's what our guys just don't get bored, like making passes, like keep passing the ball, pass the ball, pass the ball. We'll make shots. What I was more concerned with was our turnovers. In the first half, I think I had 14. And just the fact that they got good looks too, a lot of times. And I'm saying I don't like the shots that they're generating, even though I like ours. And then we come out in the second half and, they started making a few, boom, we get down big. And I just felt like we took too long to fight in the game, That's just hard. You got to play perfect basketball against a good team coming back from 19. So I thought that cost us.
I think of all this season, that was the easiest someone was able to get to the basket.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of breakdowns were that?
Yeah, we had a tough time because they do shoot so many threes. We closed out so hard to try to take them off of the line. But when you do that, it's almost kind of what they want. They want to start the chase, is what I call it. They start the chase, boom. You get downhill, now somebody got to help, you got to pull the trick, Now you're chasing, and now they're generating three-point shots and layups a lot of times. So we didn't do a good job of keeping the ball in front of us either.
Do we know anything about that?
No, not yet.
What do you feel like you guys need to improve upon going into this road trip?
We got a few things. One, the consistent thing is obviously the turnovers. We let a very good team who their main thing is transition. When we let them get 28 points off of our turnovers, that's tough. Lucky we had a chance to win a game like that. So that's something that we got to keep an eye on, But I thought our ball movement was really good. Obviously, I think we got to guard the ball better. We got to keep guys in front of us better than we did tonight.
Turnovers leading to so many points. Is that more Utah just being a good transition team, or was that some of the transition defense? What did you see there?
No, when you turn the ball over, there's no way to have a good transition defense. It's the NBA. Guys got 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s. They're probably going to convert most of the time. So it don't matter what the name of the team is. It's the NBA. These guys are too good.
I feel like this is kind of a lesson in how fragile the NBA can be, what that bottom line is from winning.
Mm-hmm.
Do you kind of see it that same way, or do you express that at
Oh,
all?
I do. Of course I have. You come into a game like this where we're number one, they're number two, but the 9th seed is a game and a half out from, it's a very thin line, and you got to always kind of be playing your type of basketball. You get away from that for even a little bit. I think I called one timeout, and I said, we actually looked like we played last night. They played last night and had a hell of a dogfight game last night, We looked like we played last night, So that was also something that I'm saying. We just have to be better about, like, our starts, and more focused on, like, whatever we say we're doing that night on the game plan and not ease our way into the game.
I feel like you guys have kind of lost that edge since you got back from your trip. Like San Antonio, you guys has been sludged through that probably players.
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn's okay, but you haven't had that like buzz.
don't feel that way. I just think that the NBA is tough, man. The parity in the NBA is just really tough. And, you know, I felt like we stole the game against San Antonio. We didn't play well enough to really win the game, but we won. I feel like Brooklyn stole the game from us, you know. And then tonight was just, you know, two pretty good teams playing, and they ended up winning the game. But I can't say that we lost something. I just think that it's very fragile, you know, and it's a very thin line as to if you're going to be a really good team, like there's things that you got to hold yourself accountable for every single night. You know, who are you? And I think we're absolutely making a ton of progress in that. But, you know, we have some nights where it takes us too long.
All right, there you go. Chauncey Billups falling the Blazers 118 to 113 loss. What do you think about that, Chris? Coach being very direct in terms of his team playing with more energy, especially at the start of games. And we saw it tonight. They didn't hold that energy throughout the first quarter, and they did not open up the third quarter well either. They got off to a bad start. And I almost feel like tonight, and even the game against Brooklyn, when they weren't making shots, they kind of lost some of that energy. It's like the missed shots, the missed threes zapped them. I think they were 1 of 9 from downtown in that first quarter.
Yeah, and isn't that what I said earlier? That one thing I haven't seen this team do is just really come out and assert itself early. And Coach said as much there. I also like his just being frank, saying, you know, we stole one against San Antonio, and we felt like Brooklyn stole one here. Like, I like it. I like that he doesn't hold back, kind of says how it is. But he's right. The team needs to come out and really, really put their foot down, man.
All right, what are we learning on the YouTube chat tonight? People enjoy our reaction to the crazy callers. They like that?
People always like our reactions to the crazy callers. We're learning that Burkhardt needs to work a little bit better on his audio balancing and all that. But if you guys had a camera above me here, like on the ceiling, pointing down, you saw all the buttons I have to push and the job of multiple people I'm doing. Maybe you'd give me a little bit of slack on the audio.
You're a freak, man.
Yes, we do got to give our people here on the chat. The Orb keeps chiming in, telling me, try this, try that. Like, pod this up. Because I can't do a live listen to the audio on the app we use.
Yeah, it's not possible.
I tried
Yeah.
at the beginning of the show, and then someone told me that the audio dropped. I didn't know that when I do an audio test, it mutes the actual stream.
Oh.
So he is in here helping me because I can't listen to my live audio. I can hear it out of my headphones that's plugged into the board, but that's not what Stream Deck's exactly hearing. So, no, I love the fact that the people are enjoying it and want it to be better, so they're chiming in, man.
You know what else is cool with the Ducks win tonight? First off, Bo Nix, major props
Stud.
to that guy. Mamba
Stud.
mentality, balls of steel to go out there on one leg and beat Utah. But, man, how nice is it to have the Civil War finally have some high stakes to it once again? Like, that's the type of game we want.
My favorite Civil War of all time is like when I was there at school, was like the Civil War for the Roses, right?
Yeah.
And even though, you know, Oregon State's the rival, I want them to have these 8-9 win seasons every single year. So this final game at Autzen or at Reeser, Ducks Beavs is something on the line, man. It's so fun when it is.
It was wild today because you had Michigan beating Illinois on a last-second field goal.
Yep.
TCU with that mad scramble to get the field goal to beat Baylor on the road. They remain unbeaten and on track to make the playoff. USC and UCLA was ridiculous, 48-45 the final. USC with one loss. They're now going to the Pac-12 title game. They've got one game left in the regular season. Notre Dame, they get to play at the Coliseum. And if they win that game, they'll be in a position to potentially make the playoff. The great game from Bo Nix we just mentioned. You had 63 points from South Carolina on Tennessee.
I mean, I knew Tennessee's defense wasn't great, but, ooh, that's
rough. And now that opens the door even wider for other teams, potentially USC, maybe the loser of the Michigan-Ohio State game. Possibilities, madness. And it's just a good reminder that when you're midway through the college football season, nothing goes according to plan. There's always going to be teams that get jacked up along the way.
Yeah, and so what are we looking at? We're looking at TCU, K-State. Is that the championship game there? Which K-State might very well beat them. So they're not going to be in. If they win, they're not in as a 3-loss conference champ. This has opened the door for
madness.
Absolutely, because the loser of Ohio State, Michigan could get in now. If LSU upsets Georgia, then it. I mean, just flip a coin, see who you want in. Because you know who was out of this for the longest time and is now right back in the convo? Clemson.
Clemson.
They're going to be a one-loss conference champ. And if USC takes care of business, beats Oregon, I mean.
That's true. The one thing that Clemson will have a difficult time explaining is that loss to Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Wow. Love it. All right. Let's keep things rolling here on the show. We'll come back and give you a scoreboard report. And then we'll look ahead to the four-game road trip, which is coming up quick. Monday, 5 o'clock tip in Milwaukee against the Bucks, followed up by games against Cleveland, New York, and Brooklyn before the Blazers come back home to meet the Clippers. And we don't know how long Dame's going to be out with the re-aggravation to the right calf. All right, 503-248-0620. Jazz over the Blazers tonight, 118 to 113. Chris Burkhardt, Chad Doing with you here on 620 Rep City Radio.
All right, we see you over there on the YouTubes, over there on my right side. You guys are wonderful. To the orb, you like MVP of the night, getting me over here. Like I said, I can't balance audio while we're live on air. It's a very interesting setup I have over here to actually get radio to YouTube. It's a little bit tougher than you think, especially when you don't have a TV studio or anything. So you guys, you are awesome. Everyone chiming in on the chat as always. Sticking it out despite college football, getting everybody away from the NBA tonight. But, man, hopefully we have a good road trip. And you guys keep coming on, keep helping grow this nice young YouTube stream that we got going. And if you guys looked, there is now a video on the YouTube as well. Not just live. We're going to start getting some produced video out there, too. So everyone out there in the chat, thank you so much. Y'all been wonderful. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
All right, fifth quarter, Chad Doing along with Chris Burkhart. Your telephone number 503-248-0620. You can find me on Twitter at Chad in Rip City. And a tough loss for the Blazers tonight. They've lost back-to-back games for the first time this year. Both of those coming at home. And now Portland will get ready for this 4-game road trip. And Chris, that 6-game road trip was tough, but the 4 teams they got to play here, fortunately, they don't have to go any back-to-backs. But, man, Milwaukee, Cleveland, the Knicks, and Brooklyn, yay. That's tough.
Yeah, this might be the tougher road trip with the teams they got. I mean, Bucks, Cleveland right off the top. That's brutal.
And we don't know the status of Dame or how long he's going to be out, but it's hard to imagine he's going to be back for Monday's game. No way.
It's very hard to imagine that if he re-aggravated it and couldn't get back in, that he's on the floor in Milwaukee.
All right, let's get you up to date in the NBA and college football with the scoreboard report.
The fifth quarter on 620 Rip City Radio presents the Scoreboard Report, brought to you by the Stadium Sports Bar and Grill, A-Lene's ultimate venue for sports fans every Monday night, featuring beer and wing specials and more.
All right, we'll start with the NBA. A final overtime in Atlanta. The Hawks topped the Raptors 124-122. Trae Young had 33 points and 12 assists. In Indiana, the Pacers over the Magic 114-113. Halliburton had 22 points and 14 assists. In Philadelphia, the Timberwolves topped the Sixers 112-109. Edwards had 25 points. Embiid 32 in the loss. The Jazz over the Trailblazers tonight 118-113. Malik Beasley scored a game-high 29 off the bench. Ant with 23 points, 8 boards, and 7 assists in the loss. And a final from L.A. tonight, the Clippers over the Spurs 119-97. Powell had 26 points for the Clippers, and Jakob Poeltl 20 points, 8 rebounds for the Spurs. Moving now to college football, top 25 action. Number 1, Georgia over Kentucky 16-6. Number 2, Ohio State took out Maryland 43-30. They remain unbeaten, and they'll take on unbeaten Michigan next weekend as the Wolverines top Illinois 19-17 thanks to a last-second field goal. Number 4, TCU, on the strength of a last-second field goal, takes out Baylor on the road 29-28. TCU now unbeaten. They finish up the year hosting Iowa State, setting up a matchup in the Big 12 title game and a shot at the playoff on the line against Kansas State. South Carolina erupted for 63 points. They hammered number 5 Tennessee 63-38. Number 6 LSU 41-10 winners over UAB. Number 7 USC in the wild game of the night 48-45 winners over number 16 UCLA. The Trojans will host Notre Dame next week. They've got a berth in the Pac-12 title game and have a shot at the playoff. Number 8 Alabama 34-0 winners over Austin Peay. Number 9 Clemson 40-10 over Miami. The Canes now just 5-6 under Mario Cristobal. Oregon with a 20-17 victory over Utah. The Ducks now 9-2, getting ready for Oregon State next weekend. Bo Nix on one leg, 25-37 for 287 yards and a touchdown. Number 11 Penn State 55-10 over Rutgers. Georgia Tech upset number 13 North Carolina 21-17. Arkansas 42-27 winners over number 14 Ole Miss. Number 15 K-State 48-31 winners over West Virginia. They'll match up with TCU in the Big 12 title game. Number 17 Washington crushes Colorado 54-7 at Husky Stadium. Number 18 Notre Dame 44-0 winners over Boston College. Number 19 Florida State 49-17 over the Raging Cajuns from Louisiana. Navy over number 20 UCF 17-14. Oklahoma takes out number 22 Oklahoma State 28-13. Oregon State number 23 over Arizona State at Sun Devil Stadium 31-7. Louisville over number 24 NC State 25-10. And number 25 Cincinnati improves to 9-2. They take out Temple 23-3. All right, Burkhart, any final thoughts on this wild Saturday? Football, Blazers, anything? What's on your mind?
Go Ducks. YouTube is awesome. Check it out. Follow the link in the Twitter. We have some pre-produced videos up there now, too. Not just live. Big things coming here at Rip City Radio.
That's right. You can subscribe, and we'd appreciate that. And, of course, appreciate your conversation throughout the evening, your phone calls, your interaction. We appreciate it. That's going to do it for us Our next Blazers broadcast will come up on Monday. Chris and I will be back for Blazers game day at 2:30. Tip-off against Milwaukee's at 5. Your final score tonight from Moda Center, the Utah Jazz over your Portland Trailblazers, 118 to 113. For Chris Burkhardt, I'm Chad Doing. Enjoy your Sunday. We'll talk to you on Monday.